Thank you guys so much for coming to Stan's first event. As I was saying earlier, this is a really, really interesting pilot that we're doing on community and artists. And so we really appreciate your attendance. With that being said, first of all, I'd like to thank our guests for being here, King Promise. So the goal of today was really to have a conversation around what it takes to build a global fan base. I think for so long, and thanks to the rise of DSPs and so much other music innovation going on, you see more and more artists being able to build a global fan base. And so with you being here to kick off your North American tour, we're excited to get into the conversation. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about, and kind of what Stan is all about, is fandom and community. And that's something that I think you've been at the heart of for a very long time. But we start every conversation with, how would you say you got your first 1,000 fans?
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks to everybody who came out today. How I had my first 1,000 fans was very, very early in high school. I'm from what you call the ends, back home in Ghana. I went to a secondary school that was my hometown school. It's called New York Secondary School. And I started off dancing and then rapping before I started singing. So transitioning from a dancer to a rapper to a singer, I started collecting fans from every point in that journey. So when I actually I was like, I'm gonna take this serious.
Yeah.
It was when I was in uni, in my third year of university. I blew up, but right before that, I took a step to just go to a show to perform when I had never done that. And after that, my followers really shot up. It was a show for like upcoming artists to showcase what they can do.
Yeah.
And I did that, and shortly after on Twitter, I got my first 1,000. I remember like it was yesterday because I couldn't believe I had 1,000 followers. And now we have like several millions. So I remember so well. I was in school, and yeah, literally I just saw my followers shoot up after a certain performance. A place called Alliance Française. I remember so well.
Yeah. Wow. So today, and first of all, I would just like you to introduce yourself.
Yep.
I mean, I've been a fan. I'm first generation Ghanaian, so it's great to go to Ghana and even here and just see like how global your music and just music from the continent has become. But yeah, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the
Yes,
folks.
guys. My name is Kim Promise, but my actual name is Gregory Promise Bote Newman. 100% Ghanaian, born and bred. I'm a singer-songwriter. I choose to see myself as an ambassador of my country to the rest of the world through my music. And I'm very easygoing, simple. I love sports. You know, at the point I thought I'd be a footballer, which my dreams kind of faded away. I have a BSc in business administration. My major was marketing. And professionally, I've been doing this for 4 years. We've been topping the charts, we've been dropping bangers, and you know, we're taking it to the rest of the world now.
Yeah. Woo! Love that. So let's dig into some of your fan activation. I think you've done some really exciting things. First of all, I want to talk about Promised Land. How did that come up, right? You see so many artists, I mean, especially in North America, kind of doing their own festivals. But I think it was really innovative for an artist to invest in a festival where they're from, right? Especially on the continent. So what inspired that? What have you learned from that? And what are your plans for Promised Land in the future?
So Promised Land is my own festival back home in Ghana. It's an annual event every December. I remember I was in Amsterdam in 2018. It was the first time I was in Europe, and I had never attended a festival, so I went to a festival called Oh My Festival. And I was like, I need to do this for myself one day. I know it wasn't artist-based because it was a festival with several artists, but I was like, I feel like I can do this where I introduce this concept to my people and bring everyone together, you know. In December, let it feel like it's not just a regular concert where you go, you see the artist perform, but you feel like where people can network, you know, you can eat some food, you can meet some friends, you can play some games, and just put it all together nicely where even the family can attend, not just the adults, even the kids can come, for a certain time and go, and maybe when it's late, the adults also continue. I'm still working on that concept because we're not fully there yet, but for the last 3 years, we've had an amazing turnout. The last one was over 5,000 cap, and it's amazing to see it come to life. At the end of the day, all I really wanted was to have an event that felt like people didn't have to just watch the artists from the stage, but felt like they were part of the whole thing going on. So when you come to Promised Land, I literally always fight with my team because I want the stage to be so long where I can literally walk down to the end, which we still haven't managed to do fully yet, but we're still working on it. So it was just me being crazy enough wanting to do a festival by myself and bring all my friends.
Yeah. And in your perspective, I think you so often stress and remind your people, right, that you're from Ghana. And so what do you think about giving experiences back to the Ghanaian consumer, the Ghanaian fan? I think it can be really hard sometimes for fans when the artists they support, especially from their homeland, kind of blows up, right? And so for you to be so deliberate about doing it there, how do you think about giving back in terms of experiences for your fans in Ghana?
I'm very appreciative of the journey. I believe I'm only here because of the fans. As much as I think I'm sick, I think I'm a good singer-songwriter. I feel like I only got here because of you guys. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I need to give back. Even not just Promised Land. I have an annual concert I do from where I'm from, my hometown, which is not. When you come to Promised Land, it's like a cool kids festival. But I have another one where it's a free show, you don't pay to come, and I bring the whole community together because I'm from somewhere where I don't call us deprived, but the class compared to the kind of people who come to Promised Land isn't the same. So I always want to do something where I give back to the people who made me who I am. For me, being on stage is my happy place. So to be able to share that with the people who made me or put me here today is always something I don't play with. Do you know what I mean? And I believe in excellence and giving a great experience. Like wherever anyone paid to come see me, it needs to be worth your while and your money. So we put a lot in Promised Land, and really and truly, I try to not make it that deep. I just want people to have a good time and forget whatever it is that they were worried about before they got there. Do you know what I mean? So really, that's it.
So I was in Ghana recently. It happened to be your birthday, and I know we have Kofi from Bloom in the audience. And I saw you sent out a tweet and invited your fans to spend your birthday with you at Bloom. So I wanted to learn more about the origin story of that and why you chose to spend that day with them.
It was very random. I haven't really spent my birthday with the fans. Like you said, it's kind of hard for the audience sometimes when the artist blows up. It's like more international, you're barely home. And, at that point, I think I was in London just before my birthday. I was like, no, I want to go back home. It's a big birthday for me. I want to spend it with family, people I love, and, my supporters. I mean, we couldn't do something so big as much as I wanted, but Bloom was like the perfect spot because it wasn't a festival like Promised Land, but it was such an event. It was so intense and very up close and personal, and you could feel like everyone there truly was a true King Promise fan. So I was like, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put out a crazy random tweet. Guys, it's my birthday. My album just dropped, and I want to spend it with you guys. So I'm gonna pick 100 lucky fans come out to my best spot in Ghana where I love to have a good time whenever I have the time, which is Bloom Bar. And just come see me perform live with a band. I performed the album for the first time. And it was spiritual. The connection was something I needed. I had to touch base with the people to feel that kind of feeling, because sometimes when you get bigger you lose that touch a bit. You know what I mean? So I didn't know I needed it that much till that day, because it felt so good. I had my family there. I had friends there who you could see were super proud of who I'd become, and the fans who had been riding with me from the beginning were all there. And I picked them randomly. I didn't know nothing. I was like, okay, my manager's gonna. So they literally just scroll through and like, okay, we pick you. So it was super random, but it was such a beautiful moment that I'll forever remember.
Do you see yourself continuing to do events or connecting with fans in that way as your career extends?
Intimate vibes are very essential, I believe, to not just myself but making the fans also feel special. Do you know what I mean? And as much as I want to make everyone feel special, I cannot make everyone feel special, you know. Maybe through my music, but in person, I can only do as much as I can. So from time to time, as just like we did my birthday, another idea will come randomly. We select people and just come out and have a good time with me. And then when we can do the big one with everybody, we do that as well. But I feel like connecting with your fans who have been, you know, a part of your journey and are the reason why you are where you are is super important.
Yeah. Talk to me kind of about how you think about the sense of your music kind of outside of the continent. I think everybody would be remiss if they ignored how big Afrobeats or just music from the continent has become, and it really feels like the sky's the limit. Looking at your last album, you were super thoughtful, right, around connecting the whole diaspora from every artist that you chose to work with, whether it was Vic and Chance or just a Omale or a host of other artists. How do you think, or what role do you see yourself playing when it comes to connecting the diaspora through your music?
So the funny thing is, you said it just the way I might have said it. I see myself as the gap, the bridge between my people back home and the people in the diaspora. I look to bring them together. So our people who are not back home with us, connect them through my music with the ones who are back home with me. So I'm like in the middle, trying to cater to two different people at the same time. So it's super important that, like you said, Afrobeats is becoming such a huge phenomenon where I call it the biggest genre in the world right now because everyone's jumping on it. You know, for the past 3 years, everyone's just jumping on it. Beyonce did a whole Afrobeats album. Drake's first ever #1 was with an Afrobeats artist, and they might call it what they want to call it, Afro pop, Afro whatever, but we know it's Afrobeats, you know what I mean? And even in the UK, they call it Afro swing. But funny enough, it's like the full circle is coming together now where we are not having to dilute our sound or try to make it appeal to the foreign audience more. As original as our songs and our music come across, it's been accepted worldwide. Do you know what I mean? Like a few big songs. I went #1 in the Netherlands. I never lived there. And I wasn't singing in Dutch. I was speaking my language, and I had some pidgin, like Kweku the Traveler. My brother from Ghana, Black Sharif. He has a song called Kweku the Traveler. That's blew up globally, and he was singing in Tree. Do you know what I mean? Very recently, you have Burna Boy with Last and
Madison Square Garden.
What's his name? Oxlade with like Closer, and even before then, there's been people like Wizkid and so many people who have contributed. And finally, it's like the world is beginning to accept. Like all we needed was for them to open their ears and just open the door. We're gonna march right through it, and that's really what's happening now. And I seek to add my voice to that message and let them know that we have like a beautiful music. And I believe in due time, our sound is gonna be the biggest sound in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's just a matter of time. It's literally getting there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I really seek to, in fostering this environment, create a conversation, not just between you and I, but the rest of the folks here. And so I wanted to open up the floor for us to just, I think, you know, asking, promise, whatever it is you want to ask. But I think for us to really have a conversation around that last point, right? Like, what does it take and what does it look like for Afrobeats to become the biggest genre in the world? I think we've seen so many strides and headways, but I'd love to open up the floor to you guys so we can make this more of a conversation. Yeah.
Should I stand or do I just...
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Mr. King Promise, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Echo, I'm Ghanaian as well.
Nice.
Pleasure. Honestly, you're a huge inspiration to me. I wanted to ask you, so this is your North American tour, about to kick off. What does, again, as Afrobeats becomes much more ubiquitous, what does success look like for you? Like, how would you call this tour a success? At the end of it, you would say, like, oh, this happened, like, I had a great experience.
Literally, for me, the main thing is making the fans happy. Like, success, I won't just equate to the show being sold out or anything, because if I sell out 2,000, I want 4,000. If I sell out 4,000, I want 6,000. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when it's a feeling I can only feel more than explain when I see the joy in the eyes of the people who came out. And inward, I feel like I've contributed to this culture of ours called African music, where, because when I see people in the stands, right, not necessarily Ghanaians or where I'm from, not black, might be even white or Asian, and I see them singing the words, I'm like, do you know what you're saying? But these ones enjoy the music so much that you can tell that this journey that we're embarking on is doing what it's supposed to do. Success for me, for this tour, is just going out there with a clear mind, only to entertain my people. If I go and everyone is, in a good mood dancing, that's all. Really, that's all I want. I'm just here to make music to bring happiness to my people. To bring joy in your lives through my music, and that's what makes me happy. That's success for me. It's not even about. I'm not gonna lie. The numbers does do a thing or two, but most important thing is making sure that you're bringing something more than just wanting the money, because it's more than that for me. Do you know what I mean? So that's the success for me.
Awesome. Shrey?
So exciting to see you. I was sitting here listening to you talk and thinking about 2014. I used to run a travel startup, and it started in Ghana. And we would burn CDs of the music that the like van driver that had like.
We used to do that so much. They burned the
CDs. So we would like.
Because we didn't have the streaming services,
Exactly.
Spotify, all of that came to Ghana Spotify came like a year ago. Apple Music like 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So we had the pen drive, the USB, the CDs. Yeah. True.
So I'm listening to you, and I remember moving back to the U.S. in 2020 and just really being like, wow, like Afrobeats is just like on Hot 97. I'm not burning CDs and like bringing them up, walking around with a thumb drive. And so it's just exciting and continues to be exciting to see that happen. I'm curious, when we talk about the diaspora, we're often referencing folks in the US or folks in the UK or in Europe more broadly. I'm curious about how you think about your fan base in the Caribbean. I just went to St. Lucia back in August. I remember going to this beach party, and there was soca and there was Afrobeats and like maybe a little hip hop, but it was like really interesting to be in the Caribbean, and I'm seeing it in Jamaica and I'm seeing it in Barbados. Like it's also big there, and so I'm just curious how you think about the Caribbean as a fan base and as a market.
Yeah, thanks for that question. Honestly, if you ever saw an African and saw a South American or a Caribbean or something, sometimes you can't tell the difference. We look alike. Sometimes our mannerisms, we act alike. And as much as you might call your music soca, we call us Afrobeats. There's some sort of similarities, even with like Jamaican music. Like when you go to Jamaica, I've never been, but everyone says you think you're in Accra. Do you know what I mean? So there's that connection where our music, and I'm not surprised Afrobeats is doing what it's doing. Going where it's going. I have full belief in our sound. You don't need to understand it to be shook by it or taken over by what we're doing. So. I've seen a few African artists go out to these places and do great stuff. Funny thing is, I just took a booking in Suriname. I'm like, I never been. I never thought I would go to Suriname. But the music is taking us so far where people are hearing our music in places we probably only saw on TV. Do you know what I mean? But it shows that our music is that powerful. And it's being accepted worldwide without people literally understanding a word we're saying. Do you know what I mean? So just like reggae became a global genre from a small country like Jamaica, I believe Afrobeats will become a global genre for everyone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not a time.
Love it. I had a question here.
Hi, my name is Simone. This is sort of, I guess, touching on some of what you mentioned already with like the Netherlands and Suriname and all these places that might not necessarily be thought of as like hot points for Afrobeats, but they very much appreciate the sound and very much consume the sound. I've been working on the digital end of Afrobeats for a while, and the numbers can be really surprising. So I wanted to ask, what are some of the more surprising places that you realize that you have like a fan base, and what do you do, or are there things that you and your team do to cultivate and engage those bases where maybe the streaming services might not necessarily be looking at, or people might not be putting as many dollars towards? How do you still cultivate your fans or your fan bases in those areas?
Places where it's been super surprising. Like I never had a show in Paris or did anything in Paris, but it's always like top 3 in my back end. And I know they widely speak French more than English or anything I speak. So that's that. like I said, going #1 in Amsterdam was like, they speak Dutch. I was like, what's happening here? Am I being hacked or something? You know what I mean? So it's that part. And like I said, even just the booking in Suriname, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even in East Africa, like there's Kenya, there's Tanzania, and I get so much love, Uganda, all of that. And I've never been there. It makes me want to go there. At the end of the day, I feel like being present there does help. And also just, I try together with my team to do some activations, even if I'm not there. Try to touch base with the people, whether it be on radio, just having to call in, or do video drops, or have a Zoom interview, just to make the people feel like, or know that I have acknowledged your love, and I love you guys back, and I appreciate you back, even if I can't be there in person. Do you know what I mean? And when we are doing ads and promoting stuff, we try as much to also engage people, because if I have a wide audience who are listening to me in a certain side that I'm not exploiting, I'm doing a disservice to myself as well. Do you know what I mean? So I also try whichever tool I can get my hands on, my team and I can get our hands on, we brainstorm and we're like, okay, let's make sure we care for these people too, you know. And it might not be a hotspot, but you'd rather have these people with you than not have them at all. So we try to work things around to make sure that we engage them, and also let them know that we have them in our minds, and you know, it's for all of them as well.
Behind you. You.
Okay, just building up what everyone was sharing. So my name is Josh, and I discovered you at a club in Taiwan.
You discovered me. I'm sorry, bro, but have you guys seen my brother over there? Nice. What, in Taiwan?
In Taiwan.
Can you imagine?
And I was like, what is this song? And I Shazammed it, and it was like, what is this song, Selfish? And it's just crazy because,
Wow.
you know, now I'm here today and getting to chat with you. I'm curious what your thoughts are on, you know, as your music makes its way to parts of the world with, you know, I don't know of any Ghanaians in Taiwan. You know, it gets around parts of the world. You know, what do you hope to share with people? You know, what's the message you hope to share with the world?
Taiwan, you know. Okay, so to answer your question, Taiwan as well. Blown away. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the places. Really and truly, I'm just an ambassador of my music from where I'm from to the rest of the world, which is African music, which is Ghanaian music. And I just want the whole world to know that we have something beautiful where we come from, that we're sharing with you guys, and you guys can also enjoy. It's really as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? As much as I want to make everyone happy, because when you listen to Afrobeats, you want to dance, bro. You want to get up. You want, like, the drums, the groove. You don't need to understand what we're saying. You know what I mean? It will just bring a certain level of happiness in you. And that's what I seek to achieve with my song, as much as I represent my people. Do you know what I mean? So for you in Taiwan listening to my music, I could have never imagined it. You know what I mean? So it feels good to know that, and it pushes me to work harder. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Awesome. You had a question?
Yes. Hi, my name is Whippa Wiley. I really appreciate your intentionality as an artist and how you connect with your supporters, and there's a mutual support there. And it's clear that you have an understanding of your responsibility as an artist within the diaspora. And we're all thrilled and excited about not having to burn CDs.
Yeah, we are as well, because now we can make some money off it.
Exactly.
Now you stream my music. Back then, you just
Exactly.
burned my CD and I might not even know. But now, if you're listening to me in Japan, Taiwan, wherever, we can see in the back end that 500 people listen to you, or 20,000 people listen to you. So thank you as well.
Yeah. I remember moving back to the U.S. from South Africa and being in Macy's in Midtown, and Drogba came on, and I'm like, what? I was so confused. So as Afrobeats and African music in general, all the subgenres continue to expand globally, I'm wondering what you maybe foresee might be some challenges around expansion, or what fears or concerns you might have, if any, around what happens when a genre, particularly that is African, that is Black, becomes so mainstream, so global, so pop. I'm wondering if these are things that you've been thinking about.
I mean, not even to think too far. Like, they tried to even change the sound. You know, they try to call it different names. I said a few: Afro swing, Afro this, Afro that. Bro, it's Afro beats. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we don't own what we have, they'll own it for us. You know what I mean? Our sound is so distinct that they know it's our sound, but still, there's a way where people just play around it and try to downplay what we are doing and what we represent. So I'm happy that every African right now who's making music is seeing that, yo, this is something that the world is catching on, is ours, and we need to own it. And we're killing it. Like, there's now the Afrobeats charts in the UK for the official charts. There's an Afrobeat charts on Billboard. You know what I mean? So it's like, we are going so hard, they are having to create spaces for us now. You know what I mean? Like, they're changing categories in award show rather than call it world. Yeah, they're switching it up for us. And it's about time. Like, we deserve it because we work super hard. You know what I mean? I feel like with fears and all of them stuff, you never really know, what someone is plotting. But what I know is that we are coming, guns blazing. You know what I mean? And the music is doing the talking. The music is really doing the talking. Like, we're selling out Madison Square Garden, selling out the O2. I was a Wiz kid last year. He sold out the O2 3 nights. Some of them, he sold them under lesser minutes than Beyonce did. You could have never imagined that. You know what I mean? And he's been in the game for 10, 12 strong years. So these ones have worked their way for it to be possible for some of us who just came up now to also follow their path and hopefully, God willing, even take it bigger. So we are also very aware of the sound now. Before we weren't as aware as we are now. And as we continue to evolve, we will continue to learn and grow as well. So yeah, we're ready for them, man. Ready for the world.
Just quickly, as a follow-up to that, I think, part of the reason the genre has been able to grow so big is because of collaboration.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to me how frequently folks collaborate, and not only like on tracks, but bringing people out on their shows, right? Like, really carrying people with them so that people can take it really far. Mm-hmm. How do you think about collaboration? How's collaboration played a role in your career? And how do you think about kind of collaborating with newer artists as they come up?
Super important. I feel like collaborations are something that we need. I have a song with Wizkid called Tokyo. That went #1 as well in different countries. But as big as Wiz is, when you collaborate with someone, they tap into your fan base, you tap into theirs. And then apart from tapping into theirs, it's you combining powers to break down barriers. So that's what I believe, collaboration does for you. And I'm in Ghana, bro. Like, I just did a song with Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa on my album. And their fans get to hear, and I get to introduce them to Afrobeats music. And then I get to introduce my people to their type of music as well. But the music being beautiful, you don't care where it came from or who's on the track. I like to discover new music. I was a SoundCloud guy before I blew up. Like, I was always looking out for people and new artists and all that. And even as I've blown, I still do that. Like, I just did a song with a guy from Ghana called Kamido. It's called Sugar Cane. Yeah. We did a remix out of nowhere. Like, I was literally in my house. My manager came from London. He's like, bro, there's these new cats that my team is working with, and I think he's sick. You should hear the song. Da, 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 da. And I heard him like, oh, this is very hard, If you guys didn't have it out already or a video already, I would have done a remix. And it was so random. Like, I barely touch songs. And it's not because I don't like them. Sometimes I just choose to, like, I feel like they're perfect how they are. I don't want to touch it. Do you know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? This is super sick. I like to be a part of, this and just show more light, on this guy's magic that he's made. And I did a remix. Then they put Mayo Kun on it, had Darko on it, and then it just went global. Like, he went #1. I look at him on the charts and he went past me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I was seeking to do. I'm like, bro, let's empower each other. You know what I mean? So for new artists, like a new guy I just did a song for. Like, I called him up. I was like, bro, I love your song, and he couldn't believe it. Bare messages in my DM with voice notes. If he could send videos, he would send. And I'm like, come home.
Yeah.
And I did a verse for him. I shot a video for him. I'm gonna drop it very soon.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, your thing is so hard. The world needs to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And God put me in this place to be able to also help other people, because people help me come up as well. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
collaboration is super important. Home, abroad, it help us widen our prospects, widen the market, widen our reach, and you can never downplay that.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be Stan if we didn't talk about some of the fan activation that came with Sugarcane, from the dance to the TikTok. So how did you feel when you kind of discovered that, and what was the impetus to really bring those women on stage?
When it started, I thought I was too cool for TikTok, but it taught me that I wasn't. You know, I wasn't really like dancing on there, but my team was like, I actually sat in a meeting with TikTok in the UK, and they had to teach me how to use the app, because I'm kind of like, I'm so bad with like my phone and updating and all that, but now I'm super into it, you know. And TikTok just took the song next level. Like, before you knew, hundreds of millions of videos. And I was like, what's happening? Do you know what I mean? And it was only right that the challenge was going how it was going, because the song was so beautiful, and I did, like, from the first time I heard it, I was like, it has to get to the world. And it got more than what I even thought of for the song. Do you know what I mean? So that made it was very fulfilling for me. And having those girls come on stage, it was only right. Do you know what I mean? Like, they created a challenge. It was because of them the song went crazy, because they created the song was going crazy already, but they created a challenge. They danced to it. So random. No one knows them from anywhere. They're not famous or anything, but it was so catchy. Everyone also caught on. I even danced to it, do you know what I mean? And I do that on stage. So when Kamido was on stage and he brought them out, I just thought it was perfect, you know. It's a nice way to appreciate the fans as well, because they had their hand in elevating the song to the status that it's at right now.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. No question over here.
Hi, how are you? I'm Adro. Great to meet you. Thank you for being here today. So I look at African music and Afrobeats as a diamond in the rough, right? You have all these artists making beautiful, highly exportable music in environments, you know, that aren't necessarily suited to serve them, right? So as you grow and as you kind of like look on or look out on your career in the future, what are some ways or what are some areas back home that you're passionate about giving back to, right? Or what are some ways that you want to essentially pour back into communities in Ghana or across Africa, essentially?
So creatively, I want to help people sharpen their skills, whether it be with songwriting, just singing. I want to create something where it's like Africa's Berkeley, where you come to, I'm sharing my dream with you guys, but somewhere where, regardless, wherever your talent is, we can help you hone your skills, like sharpen it. Do you know what I mean? So from people who want to play instruments, kids who want to learn ballet, people who want to better their songwriting, things that I can help with and things that I can get other people to help with. So I can't ballet, I can't do several other things, but we can create something that can help the creative side of our people back home, not just Ghana. I want it to be something for everybody. This is a big dream I have. I might not go into details right now, but for now, for what I can do at this point is to encourage and support my people. Like I said, sometimes I'd pay for a video for somebody just because I know it has potential of going far. I might not get nothing back if it doesn't, but it's about taking a risk, because someone took a risk on me. Do you know what I mean? So there are so many places that we need help. I can't lie, but it's a matter of time. I feel like with growth comes a lot of experiences, and with that you also get better. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully things get where they're supposed to get, but you know, like you said, diamond in the rough, soon it's gonna shine bright.
Yeah.
I have a question that's, you went to uni and had a degree in, I think you said like business administration or something like that. Thinking about Black music and like the history of Black music in the world, and how in many ways Black music has, no matter where it's from, if it's reggae, now we have Afrobeats, I'm a piano, and I think about like the struggles of Black musicians in America, and like even like how long it took to go from like no ownership and exploitation to some levels of ownership now, to us maybe being behind on digital, and so again not really getting like the full suite of what we're doing. YouTube and everybody making all the money, but the artist still struggling. I'm curious, as Afrobeats now takes its rightful stage as a global genre, how are you as an artist looking at the lessons of Black artists before you in other genres and other parts of the world, and leapfrogging them and kind of escaping some of the issues around ownership and exploitation, and making sure that as your sound grows as an artist, but also as a genre, maybe there's some lessons to be learned and some new things to create.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. The music business is a very shady one, if I should put it. You know, it's a funny business, full of love, but also full of games. So at the end of the day, there's so much that I said something earlier. People like Wiz, Burner, David, they've done this for over 10 years. R2Bs, where I come from in Ghana, R2B, Sarkodie, they've gone through these phases for so long and have gone through so much that now they've imparted knowledge into us so that we also don't go through what they went through. And we're also going to go through phases where the ones who are going to come after us won't go through. But at this point in time, for me, I believe there's no standard law. Like, I know the power I possess and what I have in regards to my music, and I try to make sure I negotiate to the best of my ability what I think I deserve. Like, I don't go with it because that's what everybody goes with, or that's how it's supposed to be. That's nothing like how it's supposed to be. We set these standards. Do you know what I mean? And I try to tell my brothers, even back home, like, bro, you know the power you have. They only came to work with you or they asked for you because they realized you have this. So don't lose focus of what you have and just follow them because they promise you this, promise you that. At the end of the day, you're creative. If you lose that kind of like freedom in even doing your work or feeling like you're not being treated how you're supposed to, it will affect you, you know, even in your work. You know what I mean? So really and truly, the lessons are still being learned. Even I'm still learning lessons. I was telling my manager the other time, like, damn, they finessed us. You know what I mean? And it's something that the system has been working for so long, where they saw these problems, but they saw all these ways to, you know, overtake us and overpower us. But we're seeing the loopholes as well, you know. And I won't see all the loopholes. People before me didn't see all the loopholes, but because of them, I realized some loopholes they saw, and I'm not making the same mistakes. And hopefully, with time, because like you said before, there was no ownership. Now first it was your music was for them for forever, then it became 100 years. Now it gets to it was like 25. Now you can get it to 15, and with time, it won't be that. It will be yours, because realistically, it's your product they're working on you, like working with you for. It's not theirs. Do you know what I mean? So you're distributing my music, but you don't own it. It's my thing. It's my intellectual property. But it's how we make it work, where it's not like you're taking it all and I'm just working I'm just working hard. Do you know what I mean? But it's gotten better with time, and I feel like with time it will get even more better. Yeah.
What was the question here?
That's a deep question.
Hey, doing? I'm Ethan Thomas. I'm a producer, DJ.
Nice.
I just wanted to start with just an anecdote. Like, we both grew up in the Midwest in Ohio, both Ghanaian guys.
You're Ghanaian as well?
Yeah.
Nice, my brother.
I have family in the
I see you wearing Frida Youth.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Um,
You have family in Nungwa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's from where I'm from. Nice, my brother.
But yeah, so like, growing up, we always knew being African was cool, but that wasn't always the case in the U.S.
Yeah.
And we've seen that shift as a result, largely of the music. Travel as well, but the music is largely driving the travel. So I just want to express my gratitude for what y'all have done for us and like our kids and everybody that's going to grow up here, because now it's cool. It's cool. They see us as cool.
Yeah, it's cool to be African.
We always knew we were, but
It was just a matter of time for them to catch on, you know?
just appreciate you for that. The question is a separate tangent, but I work as a producer, like I said, and working with artists a lot. I work with artists in Ghana too, and a lot of times like people are tired of doing Afro beats or feel like they're forced into making that sound because that's what them as Africans want. Do you feel some of that pressure, and like what are you kind of your thoughts for the artists that want to make different sounds but feel like kind of trapped, you know?
The funny thing is my story is the other way around. When I started, I was heavily influenced by R&B and like blues and reggae and dancehall. So they used to call me Nungwa Chris Brown. I used to sing like you guys over here, and then I found myself, and I'm like, no, I can do something so original that I'm not trying to be like someone. I be myself, and then they rather try to be like me. Do you know what I mean? So, being original has helped us. That's why we're here right now. Like today, I'm here because I chose to make music, making sure that I was instilling whatever I learned as an African or as a Ghanaian in my music. Do you know what I mean? It's not a problem to explore music. Like when you listen to my last album, there are songs that you can categorize differently and not call them Afrobeats, but you still hear my Ghanaian influences in there. So I try to find a balance. Do you know what I mean? It's super important to where you don't lose yourself in the sauce. Do you know what I mean? So it's about finding a balance, honestly. So you listen to songs like "Do Not Disturb" on my album, and people will call it R&B or a slow wine type of track, but I'm speaking Ga. I'm speaking my language. Do you know what I mean? But because of the sound, you get to connect with it without having to understand it. So it's basically finding the balance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. And really and truly, art should be expressed. You shouldn't feel like boxed to do a certain sound or that sound. Do it how you want to do it and find yourself in it. Eventually, whatever is original about you will show, and that will sell you eventually. You know. Yeah.
Awesome. Right here. Yeti.
Hi, my name is Yatunde. I am Nigerian American, specifically Yoruba, and regrettably, I don't speak my mother tongue. But of all the joy that Afrobeats has brought me over the past decade or so, one of the things has been it's been an amazing vehicle for actually learning my language. And you know, a lot of what you have mentioned is how you speak your language and tell stories about your experience in Africa growing up. My question to you is, as Afrobeats continues to dominate the world stage, what are those types of stories that you feel that we have the opportunity to tell, especially considering that African history has always been rooted in oral tradition, and this is really something that is an enormous opportunity to really tell African stories right now?
I feel like over here, you guys have asked me very deep, serious questions that people ever ask me. You know? It's always very like on the surface type of question, but that's a very solid question. Our story can only be told by us. You know what I mean? Where we control the narrative and actually tell it how it's supposed to be told. Whether we're singing about love, that's an African way to love, I believe. You know what I mean? Where there's a mutual level of respect, you know. In Africa, there's a certain level of, you know, submissiveness, whether it be on the part of the man or the woman. So there's a different way we can tell our story, you know, even when it comes to love. When it comes to people like Berner, they speak on politics, touch on things, on what our leaders are doing and how it's not supposed to be done. So it's about expressing your art in a way where you want to express it. Because I believe you being true to yourself in the music, you can connect to your fans more. Because if someone's sitting at home and they hear you sing and they're like, oh, that was me yesterday, or this is how I feel right now, or what he's saying is true, this is what my parents told me, this is us sharing our message. Do you know what I mean? So really and truly, like you said, telling our message is a part of the reason why we're here today, and it can only be done where we are true to ourselves. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think we had a question. Was there a question before, right around in the middle? No? Yeah. Go
I can
ahead.
ask a question. It's similar to what you asked, but like, so I believe, first of all, that music can connect us all, whether it's different cultures, whether you don't speak the language, or most importantly, across borders, right? So you mentioned that you, as an ambassador of your country and the music, and I can speak this for a lot of my fellow Asians, what are you trying to speak through your through your music, and what do you want us to like hear in your music?
That's a nice one. You got me thinking, bro. Usually I'll just put together an answer for you, but now I'm thinking very hard. Like, I'm trying to let you know or make you aware of the sound that we have, that we believe, is a sound the world is slacking on, and it's about time you guys, caught up with what we have. The music is beautiful, bro. Like I said, our music makes you dance. It puts you in a good mood. Do you know what I mean? Africans, we sing and dance, whether it's the wedding, it's the funeral, it's the naming ceremony, anytime where we our music comes first. It's an integral part of who we are. So for us to bring that to the rest of the world is something that brings us joy. I'm happy to come out here and have all my fellow Africans, not necessarily Ghanaians, come out to Webster Hall this weekend to see me, do my first headline in America. We took the music off the shores from Ghana all the way to America. That's a journey that's taking forever to happen for most of us. This is probably the first time any Ghanaian is having such a headline at that kind of level. Do you know what I mean? So the most important message in our music is that we have something beautiful that the world needs to catch up on. Because we listen to your music back home. You go to the clubs in Ghana, there's hip hop. Sometimes we don't even understand what they're saying because they might be rapping about guns and, and we don't understand, but maybe the rhythm, we just we go with it. But usually African music tells stories about where we come from, what our influences are, the way we love. Because we like love. Most of our songs like here in the club and you're dancing to are about love, even the hip hop ones. Do you know what I mean? And it's about spreading love and letting people have a good time. That's really all I stand for. Do you know what I mean? And also just letting you know that as Africans, we have something beautiful in us through our music.
Wow, I think that's such a great way to end things. I want to thank you so much for taking the time and really participating in such an intimate conversation. I would love if you could kind of just wrap things up. I mean, reminding folks of the tour on Saturday. And thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me, for coming out here to see me. I usually don't speak to people like this, so I was like, are we really doing it? And we've done it, and I had a good time. This weekend, we're going to cap it off with my first headline in New York, which I'm super excited for. It's at the Webster Hall for my new album. It's called the 5-Star World Tour. So we're doing a whole world tour. We're doing like 9-10 states in America, and we're doing about 11 in Europe. And we're still actually adding more. So we start off in New York, then we do DC, I think Atlanta after, Ohio, where you come from, eh? I'm going to Minnesota, Chicago for the first time, Boston, Philly, and you see the way I said Philly like I'm from here.